Hello and welcome to today's content, which is going to be preparing for the Leviathan raid since it has been announced. And yeah, basically I'm going to be going over the resistances and recommending units to kind of bring just for easy clearing. The item this time around is going to be, I believe, the Knight's Armor or Magic Armor. I'm not sure how the translation will be. I mean, we'll find out in the news anyways, but since this was like kind of recorded right before the announcements, yeah, we'll have to see on the translation. But without further ado, let's begin. So resistances for the raid. Slash is going to be a negative 15%, which means this is going to be primarily a slashing boss if possible. Negative 10% to lightning means you should be bringing lightning units. 10% to fire means don't bring fire units. Please don't bring fire. Just don't. 0% to everything else, and then 10% to strike and pierce, 20% to missile, and 25% to magic. Unfortunately, Leviathan at level 100 does have 30 defense and 30 spirit. That means he will be mitigating a lot of damage. The faith is going to be at 70, and then what you want to bring is going to be lightning units, lightning slash, lightning pierce, and or slash units after. Another thing that you should be thinking about bringing is Imperil's aquatic killer, because he's aquatic type. Not aquatic type, but he's an aquatic race specifically. So keep that in mind. He is not an Esper in this situation, I believe, from the information that we have seen. Defense debuffs and penetration is going to be very good. Steal time does work on him if you do need that manual level of play. Magic attack resistance is going to be good. Water elemental resistance is going to be very good. And then slow resistance is going to be good, especially if you cannot prevent reaction abilities. As you can see here, obviously this raid is definitely made for Charlotte because she can kind of bypass reaction abilities. If you're not able to bypass reaction abilities, try to bring slow resistance if possible. So damage you'll be taking is magic attack type, so you're going to be taking magic attack types, and strike type damage, but it's going to be physical damage, not strike magical, so don't have to worry about that much. And he does inflict slow, so you have to be careful on that from Leviathan. For Espers with water and aquatic killer, it's going to be Aigaon, Ramu, Tetra Sylphid, and then Kolrul. So make sure you bring what you are accordingly that has water and or aquatic killer to maximize your amount of damage. So here we are for setting up the raid. I made this a lot more kind of, I guess, cleaner and or simpler and shorter, just so it's more concise and just getting everything out of the way. I am going to be aiming to try and include 4 units as much as possible in general. So for the highly recommended units with the elemental advantage, we have Charlotte. Obviously, she's going to be one of the best for it. She's literally kind of made for the raid. She doesn't necessarily have the defense penetration, however, she won't need that too much considering what she can provide on her own. Outside of that, we have Nines. He has slashing and piercing, as well as he does have pierce resistance down, like an Imperil, so he can be definitely very, very good for this raid. Outside of that, everyone knows Old Man Orlando, he will always be viable in this type of stuff, and because he has Trinity Break, it can further basically debuff Leviathan's like efficiency in terms of damage. Now O here is an MR, but because he's an MR, I have to say he has his EX as well. He has a vision card specifically made for him that lets him deal a lot of damage. This vision card will be almost mandatory for him, or else he will be dying quite quickly because of how much damage he can take from magic attack types without the vision card. So keep that in mind. If you do have the vision card and you have him EX, he will be excellent for the raid. So for highly recommended units that are kind of like just good with the attack type in this scenario would be slash and or resistance, like they have good magic attack resistance and good slash. We have this setup. Obviously Dwayne is going to be literally the best. He has Rising Twilight as well as Armor Crusher. He is an enabler. He is a red circle. He will be very, very, very good. Titus is always good, especially just for slashing in general and raids, because he has good chaining. He has a jet shot for defense down, and he has a very good kit for raiding specifically as well. Zazan specifically, with his vision card at least, or like magic resistance, he can still do very high damage, especially with his triple split. If you had like 4 Zazans and they're all triple splitting with their defense penetration passive, as well as has their triple split max with their EX ability on it, that is not only 90% defense penetration, you are hitting for 200% like damage with triple split for a very hard hitting triple like attack. And if you do that with 4 of them, that's literally, you're getting very high chain levels. You will be dealing very high damage. Auron specifically is here because not only does he have a lot of spirit, he also has good magic attack resistance, he's slashing, and he has defense penetration. He can be used very well in this raid if he's just needed, pretty much. He can't really provide for his team, kind of like Zazan. They just have to be dealing a lot of damage and chaining. So equipment to consider bringing. Because Leviathan is going to be spamming slows if like you get hit by it. Ribbon is going to be very useful if you do not like have a slow resistance, so keep that in mind. Outside of that, Tidering is very good if you're able to equip it on like a water unit because it has the water resistance, which is going to be very effective in mitigating damage. Outside of that, we have Titus's necklace for the magic attack resistance, so that's just nice to have on hold. And then we have Smart Robe for a large amount of spirit as well as a good amount of magic attack resistance. For vision cards to consider, the Coral vision card is going to be very good for lightning compositions. We have Fenrir because it has a decent amount of damage and mostly because of the magic attack resistance, which is going to definitely help your team survive. We have the Echoing Screams from Moraga's vision card for slash attack up. We have Irresistible Darkness, which is Dwayne's vision card and one of the best for offensive and defensive benefits because it gives you a good amount of attack as well as giving you some magic attack resistance. And then lastly, we have the New Year's vision card. This is specifically for the Aquatic Killer 20. This is going to be very useful if you are able to use it. So here we are for resistances for the rare raid, which is going to be the Chimera this time around. We're going to start off with the magic attack resistance being at negative 15% and light at negative 10%. If you do not already just see Yuna literally just flash in your mind here, I don't know what to tell you. She's probably going to be the best for the situation outside of maybe like Black Rose Helena. From here we have 0% for all the other elements, 10% to strike and pierce, 15% to slash, and 20% to missile. As you can see here, if you do have attack type imperils, even slash, you can actually make work of this like this boss just fine. You don't actually have to go for magic. However, I will say, if you just have Yuna and or Sakura or like Black Rose Helena, it'll be significantly easier for this raid. From here we have defense at 10 and spirit at 0 when the boss is at max level. Faith is at 70, so it'll take a good amount of damage for magic. And what you want to ideally bring is going to be light magic, magic attacks, and then regular magic attacks, just magic users in general, and then light element if possible. From here, you want to bring defense debuffs and or penetration. Ideally, you want debuffs here because defense is only at 10. However, the penetration will still be used even if it's like only a little bit. For spirit, you want to bring debuffs specifically, not penetration, but debuffs, because it does not really have any way to like. It doesn't have a lot of spirit. It has literally 0, and or if it had anything to raise it, it doesn't have too much. Debuffs will be more effective here than penetration. Imperils work here just fine, especially for like light element if you're able to reduce that, and beast killer because Chimera is a beast. So magic and status types you will take. Specifically for magic, you're gonna be taking both water and wind magic attack types. Keep that in mind. It's not only all dark. And for the dark side, we have dark strike physical attack, as well as he will be inflicting blinds. So keep that in mind. The espers you want to bring that have like good magic attack type, as well as like beast slash dark killer, Bahamut, Carbuncle, Siren, Iron Giant, and two-headed dragon. I believe in future raid videos that I do, I'm probably going to only include espers that are kind of, I guess, more beneficial to magic attack types. And I say this mostly because Iron Giant here and two-headed dragon do not have like anything useful in terms of magic, like magic stat on the esper itself, and if it's significantly better if you just use like Bahamut, Carbuncle, and Siren. So I'll have to think about that. Now, setting up for the rare raid, highly recommended units and or elemental advantage is definitely going to be Summer Kilphe. Not only does her Summer Fatality very strong, it also imperils light. There are no units in the game that has a light attack and a light imperil in one right now. No units in the game have that. She does, specifically for light. It's going to be very nice. I know some people are like, doesn't Sakura have one? Yes, she does, a light imperil. However, it is a lightning element attack that lowers light resistance, so it's not the same thing. Especially with how AI works, it won't always prioritize or use that in that situation. Anyways, outside of that, Yuna is very strong pit. She'll always be good for that in general. And Mashari, only if she's EX, in my honest opinion. I'd rather bring like Marielle, even or MR, like level 99, or Sakura any day over Mashari if she's not at least EX. If Mashari is EX, she'll actually be very effective. And I just said Marielle is going to be very good MR. If you do have her, especially if you like raised her up for the light selection quest, she'll be very good here. For highly recommended units for strong attack types and resistances, just for units in general, if you want to work off the magic attack types, definitely these 4 are going to be very capable. We definitely have Helena, Black Robe Helena. Obviously, she's extremely strong and still like basically the strongest mage unit in the game attacker. We have Sweetheart Salir, who is very strong as well, and she can raise her own like magic attack buffs. She's very like she will do a lot of damage as well. And then we have Mua. She also has a Water in Peril to help boost her damage even further. Keep in mind, she does not have as much AP, so you have to be very careful because she has high AP cost and she does not have as much AP compared to like Black Road Helena. Make sure you either have bells on her and or like the 3 stars like bracelet thing accessory that we got for her trials, at least to help reduce her AP cost. We also have Luelle. She's also very strong. You don't really need any of the spirit penetration on the boss because it does not have spirit. However, she just hits very hard as well, especially if you have a good vision card set up for her. Outside of that, equipment to consider: Silver Rim Spectacle is going to be very nice to like prevent a little bit of blind, and then the Light Bracer on your light units just to not only increase damage, also increase your resistance to dark, as well as just like dealing more damage in general. It's just a small little boost. It's not like anything too much though. And then we also have the Emblem of Devouring, which is also going to help a little bit if you do not want to get blinded, especially if you do not have any blind resistance. It's not as good and it's not like as guaranteed for blind resistance, however it still helps even a little bit. Now for vision cards to consider, definitely if you have a light magic mono magic team, Bahamut's going to be obviously a winner. Like he will literally give you insane amount of power to your team. Like it's very good. Outside of that, Scions of Shadow is very, very good, not only for the light attack, but also the dark resistance if you're having trouble surviving. Outside of that, I do believe this card is very, very strong. From here, we have Trousseau in almost all magic attack type or situations. We also have the Shadowbringer's vision card if you need that dark resistance specifically. If you don't need it, then it's fine. You don't really need to be using it, but as I said, it's mostly if you have access to it and or you need defenses to it. We also have the Red Chocobo, which this is also kind of like limited that not many people will have, but this does increase your light attack and dark killer basically, so it's definitely a good add-on if you do not have anything else to help increase your damage. From here we also have the Typhoon vision card, which is also going to be very good for not only accuracy but also magic attack types, especially if you're not using 100% hit abilities and you are blinded. So this does help a little bit in that situation. So yeah, setting up for rare raid, keep these in mind. And yeah, we've arrived to the end of the video. As always, if you like my raid preparation kind of like setup and presentation, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'm not going to say this raid item is a direct counter to Helena, but it definitely significantly helps, especially if you have a lot of trouble like trying to fight her. This armor raid item is very, very nice against her. It is not a counter though. It is still nice to mitigate damage from her, especially if you do not have any other options. But yeah, until the next video, peace out and happy raiding.